Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into The Courage to be Disliked, a book that's completely shaken up how millions of people think about happiness and freedom, all based on the revolutionary ideas of Alfred Adler.
You know that feeling of being stuck? Where you look at your life and it just seems like a complicated mess. We get caught up believing our past dictates our future, that we are who we are, and that true happiness, well, that's something for other people, right?
The book sets this up as a fascinating conversation between a skeptical young man, who thinks like most of us do, and a philosopher who introduces these mind-blowing ideas from Adlerian psychology. It's basically a showdown between two totally different ways of looking at your life. And here's the philosopher's first big mic drop. The world isn't complicated. You're making it complicated. He gives this great analogy about well water. It's always about 60 degrees, but when you drink it in the summer, it feels cool, and in the winter, it feels warm. The water never changed, only your perception of it did. And that, he says, is exactly how your life works. Okay, so let's get into the first really radical idea from this book. And fair warning, this one challenges everything we've been taught about cause and effect, especially when it comes to our past. So Adler basically flips traditional psychology on its head. He says, forget etiology, this idea that your past causes your present. Instead, he introduces teleology. All that means is that we don't act because of what happened in the past. We act to achieve a goal in the present. We aren't being pushed from behind. We're being pulled forward by a purpose. And this is where it gets really powerful. Adler isn't saying that trauma and bad experiences aren't real or that they don't affect us. Of course they do, but he's arguing that they don't determine anything. We are the ones who decide what meaning to give those past events, and that meaning shapes how we live today. So the book gives this fantastic example of a friend who's too anxious to leave his room. The old way of thinking, etiology, would say some past trauma is causing this, but teleology asks, what's the goal? And the goal here is to stay safe at home, to avoid social challenges, and to get his parents' constant worried attention. So the anxiety isn't the cause of him staying inside, it's the tool he's using to achieve his goal of staying inside. Let's make this personal. Think about the last time you got angry. Adler would say you didn't just lose your temper. No, you chose anger as a tool to get what you wanted. Imagine a mother yelling at her kid. The phone rings, and instantly her voice is calm and polite. She hangs up and goes right back to yelling. See? The anger wasn't some uncontrollable force. It was a tool she picked up and put down to make her daughter submit. So if we're all about goals and not causes, this leads us straight to Adler's next big claim, which is, honestly, even more shocking. I mean, what a statement. Adler is saying that every single bit of unhappiness you feel, whether it's feeling inferior or worrying about the future, it's all at its core about other people. Just think about it. If you were the only person in the universe, you couldn't feel inferior to anyone. It's a freeing idea, though, isn't it? Because if our problems are about relationships, that means the solutions are in our hands. We can always change how we relate to others. And here's a key distinction in how we do that. A feeling of inferiority is actually healthy. It's that little voice that says, I want to be better, and it pushes you to grow. But an inferiority complex, that's totally different. That's when you start using that feeling as an excuse. You say, I can't succeed because I'm not smart enough. It's not a motivator anymore. It's a get-out-of-jail-free card to stop trying. So if all our problems are really just relationship problems, how in the world do we fix them? Well, Adler says we need a radical change in how we see the world. The answer, according to Adler, is to completely ditch the competition mindset. When you see life as a competition, everybody is an enemy. Someone else's success feels like your loss. It is absolutely exhausting. The alternative? See everyone on a flat, horizontal plane. We're different, sure, but we're equal. We're comrades, walking together. And when you see it that way, you can genuinely be happy for other people's wins. And you know, when you're stuck in that competitive world, the price you pay is huge. You can't trust anyone, you can't relax, you can't really celebrate anyone else's joy. You're basically living in a constant state of alert in what feels like a really dangerous world. True happiness just can't exist there. All right, this brings us to the final and maybe the toughest piece of this whole puzzle, what it really takes to change and actually find happiness. Here's the thing. You already have everything you need. This philosophy isn't about becoming someone else. It's about changing your lifestyle, your entire outlook, and just deciding to use the equipment you already have in a totally new way. So the big question is, if we're so unhappy, why don't we change? Well, it's because we actually make the decision not to. Staying miserable is familiar. It's safe. We know how to deal with it. Choosing something new, choosing happiness, that's scary. It's uncertain. So we choose the misery we know over the happiness we don't.
And that right there is the heart of it all. Happiness isn't something you go out and find. It's a choice you make, and it doesn't require a perfect past or better circumstances. All it requires is courage. The courage to stop seeing life as a competition, and ultimately, the courage to be disliked for living your own authentic life. Because your life isn't defined by your past. It's decided by you right here, right now.